Right, now this will tell us. And that's pretty conclusive. Still going. Close. I think he's got it down.
How strong is he?
Welcome back to the Pick and Go podcast, your one-stop shop for all things rugby union. And I'm joined in studio by our very good friend, Piri Wipu. Piri, welcome in.
Good to be back. On time?
No.
Well,
No,
you were still making your little smoothie concoction while I was waiting at the elevator, so I was on time.
Well, I had time to make it because you weren't here on time.
Well, anyway, you didn't even have everything set up.
What?
Who else have we got on today?
Well, you may have just heard one of our other guests. It's our good friend Ben Searle of Surly Talk Sports. Surly, welcome in, mate.
Yeah, heck of a throwaway there from Pity, mate. Well played. Well played.
Were you this late when you were playing for the All Blacks? Did you get on the bus on time? Were you always the last one on the bus?
No, usually the first, because, there's like back row if you don't stuff up. If you get, stuff things up, back seat will give you a clip.
Oh. Well, who was on the back?
Which team are we talking about?
The All Blacks.
Oh, I had Kevy, Woody, Al Heyman. Then you had the skipper just in front, and then,
You probably wouldn't want to get on the wrong side of those fellas. Yeah, okay. All right, now we're also joined up north by our good friend Steve Devine. Steve, were you late for the bus?
Never. Not once.
Yeah. No, I believe that.
Wow.
Well, I'm just saying. I just believe that Steve would be on time all the time. Anyway. Yeah. What do we do? Should we have a look at our betting from last week? I'm not sure if we should. Oh, actually.
Probably not.
No.
Probably not.
Let's have a little look. First of all, we'll go with Jeff Wilson. He's not here. He had one bet. He had All Blacks minus 8.5 into the Wallabies plus 16.5. That came in, put the whole 100 on. He is now up $265 for the season, which is very, very good because he's only on, I think, once a month. So it's a pretty high strike rate for Goldie. Pity Wipu. Let's have a look. He had Manawatu half full time.
They were looking good too at halftime.
They were. So were the Springboks. Taranaki half full time and Otago to lead at halftime, Wellington to win. So he had 50 on that. That was no good. And then he had Will Jordan to score a try.
The one time.
And I tell you what, there's probably a whole heap of punters out there angry with you because you put the mockers on Will Jordan. He was very, very popular in same-game multis.
Should have gone with Severis, the one that we told you to take last year quite a bit for your tries.
Surly, that's it. Two bets, one successful, one not. The unsuccessful one, and it was looking good for quite a while. All Blacks to win by 1-12. No good on that, but he did have a nice little 3-leg NPC multi. Taranaki to win, a Hawke's Bay half-time and full-time, and Waikato to win. Had to wait till the very last play of the game for that to come in, but it did. Surly was up $104.50 for the week, and he is up $58.02 for the season.
I'm back. NPC specialist, mate. Don't you worry.
Yeah, you have had some success with the NPC. I had one bet. I had Taranaki to win, Waikato to win, and Otago plus 12.5. I'm up $437 for the week, up $945.58 for the season. We're getting off. We're not too bad, and let's just have a look. Just see where.
I missed. What's Petty up for the season?
Sorry.
He's up to nothing.
Pretty is down $1,515 for the season so far.
Bay Corp are going to get involved soon, Petty, mate. You got to sort this out.
My bank account is flying up.
Righty-ho. Let's head to the Rugby Championship. Why don't we start with the game in Johannesburg where the Springboks got out to a huge, huge lead. And then all of a sudden the switch got turned the other way, and the Wallabies. I don't know how to explain it. Steve Devine, can you explain to us what happened in that Test match in Joburg?
I just think with South Africa, they're in a transition period. They've lost a little bit of experience. I've always said the Springboks are a different team when Henry Pollard's not playing, and they really miss some leadership. And just like times we went through last year, you just can't expect young kids to step up in Test match rugby without having served their time in the hot seat, and it just showed. I really feel Africa went away from what has worked for them in the last 8 years, which is boring rugby can be, and they tried to throw the ball around a little bit, and it worked for them initially, and then the fatigue kicked in, and the wheels just completely and utterly fell off. There were a few opportunist tries from the Wallabies to really hammer it home, but I just feel South African rugby has done something over the last 10 years that has been the same thing week in and week out, and it's worked well for them. They've probably tried to do something a little bit different under Tony Brown as backline coach, and the wheels fell off, and they fell off hard, and it was great to see.
Surely, if you look at this game, the Wallabies, their last two matches, they've beaten the Lions, and then they've gone to Joburg and come back from a 22-0 deficit to beat the Springboks by 13 or more.
Yeah, it's impressive, and it's exciting as a New Zealand rugby fan. This is the result I wanted to see, and I didn't really think it was possible, but on reflection, looking back, had the much harder run-in. I think they were battle-hardened and ready for this one. And they just bet South Africa at their own game. Like Steve said, well, South Africa's game has changed, but 69% line-out win rate for South Africa. Like, that's unheard of, right? They got out-physicaled at the breakdown. It was just, a good performance from the Wallabies. The Springboks were definitely off, and I expect them to make some changes this week as they welcome a few people back. But that just brought a massive smile to my face. And that commentary of that Max Jorgensen try at the end, like, that was just elite scenes. And you can't listen to that and not be stoked for Wallabies fans.
Pity, if you have a look at that game, boy, the Wallabies, who were rank outsiders prior to this weekend in the Rugby Championship, they were behind Argentina. That's where the bookies had them. They're now into $7 to win the Rugby Championship. That's a big, big win to pick up away from home, certainly in Joburg. Were you impressed with how they played?
Yeah, I thought that they seen opportunities, like when the skipper got that tip run and pretty much went through untouched, really. But not only that, they seen on their counter-attack, like, Wright is massive of his counter-attack, and obviously made quite a few breaks with his counter-attack ability. So I thought they done what they needed to. I think they weathered the storm right at the start. The Springboks went all guns blazing right at the start of the game, and that was the type of tempo that they wanted. But I don't think they were able to keep it sustainable for that long period of time. I mean, looking at the last parts of the last quarter of the game, a lot of those boys looked like they were a bit fatigued, trying to chase down Wright, and none of them had any gas left in them to contain him. So I thought the Wallabies done really well, and probably done their homework, knowing that they need to bar up, because you know what it's like to play against the Springboks. It's a very physical encounter.
Steve, the bomb squad didn't quite have the same effect that it has had in recent times.
Well, it's a new bomb squad. They're pretty inexperienced, and that showed, and that's where you are these days. If I also feel in the same with the All Blacks Argentina game, that the RGs started to make a few changes, and they're not quite the players that the guys who started, and the game got away from them. So, international rugby these days is pretty much a 23-man sport. And if you don't have the depth to fill your bench, you do get caught out in the last 10, 15 minutes, just like the Springboks did.
Surely, that was a fairly flat backline from the Springboks, and it got found out a couple of times with Swali'i intercepting and returning for a try under the post. Obviously they are trying a few new things, but they didn't really come off this time.
No, they didn't. And all the chatters that Andre Pollard will be back in the mix this week, and I think they'll play a totally different game plan. But yeah, they rolled the dice, and under Tony Brown, and we know how innovative and exciting he is, they were able to pull it off against teams like Georgia and Italy, but I think now we're seeing against the best teams that they've still got a few kinks to iron out. I like the thought of it and them wanting to use their outside backs because they do have so much talent out there. They have the cattle to be able to play that style of game. It's just not quite where it needs to be execution-wise at the moment. But full credit to the Wallabies. I thought they played the same way throughout this 80 minutes despite that start. I don't think they panicked. They didn't try change things or reinvent the wheel. They just stuck to their guns. And in the end, it paid dividends for them.
Petty, did you ever play at Joburg? What was it like there? It looks like the crowd right on top of you. And they certainly let you know that you're the away side. Is that a fair way of putting it?
Oh, it depends. Like, the All Blacks have got a pretty strong support base over in South Africa. But I mean, in general, the atmosphere over there is pretty electric. But yeah, you can definitely hear a lot of things being said from the crowd. But I mean, I've found that in the past that we've tried, like as players, we've always tried to focus on the things that we can control and to help us get the upper hand. And so to focus on that purely rather than letting the atmosphere and the conditions of the game get here, we've always tried to focus on what we can control, and that was just what we did. And I mean, having to play over there is like, especially in Joburg, like you feel like it's very hostile. After it, right, they're good to want to hang out with you, those fans. Just like when we were in Durban at Shark Park.
At the Braai.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah. Oh, jeez. Yeah, I'd be first lining up in that.
Which line, the food or the beverages?
One hand on that side, one over there. Yeah, I'll have some of that.
What are you grabbing?
Yeah, the beer and then the braai. Yeah, one of each. Thank you. Steve, you would have played there as well for both the All Blacks and the Blues?
I didn't play for the All Blacks there, but definitely the Blues. They've got like a warm-up area. It's like it's not outdoor, but it's sort of inside the change room, and they have instead of having a roof, they've got a net. So you can kick and you can pass. It's quite a reasonable size area, but the crowd can also look down on you because there's no roof. And it's just they scream and they yell and they're drinking beer and they're having a good time, and you're just like, it's like you're almost in a prison cell, down, they're looking down on you through a cage almost. And they just, every time they see a forward, they want to scrum you. And that's before, during, and after the match. All as they want to do when you're over there is scrum you.
Well, let's head to another continent, South America now, where the All Blacks took on Argentina, and surely the score, well, I guess it was sort of inflated by, I guess, the All Blacks version of the bomb squad. They got a whole heap of energy and momentum with the players that came off the bench, the All Blacks.
Yeah, I was happy to see that finish, because I think that's certainly something that we have needed to work on over the course of last year and the first couple of tests this year. It wasn't exactly the most exciting thing to watch, but it was clinical and it was almost Crusader-like, wasn't it? Like just knowing where our strengths were and playing to those. There were patches of this game I thought we looked really good, and there were patches where like some of the aimless kicking and little things like that did do my head in a little bit, but I think the All Blacks are showing the way that they want to play, and they look comfortable playing that style of footy at the moment. And I think they're just going to get better and better at that moving forward, and it might not please everyone, but I think it could be a winning formula as well. So going over to Argentina and getting the win by 17 points, that's a result that you take every day of the week for me.
Steve, discipline sort of came into the game again, and Argentina took advantage when they were up a player. Is that a concern for you?
Yeah, listen, All Blacks tend to be very good, and then they just get on a 5-10 minute streak of discipline falling out, and that often ends up with someone in the bin, and that never helps for 10 minutes. So I think for a long time, it's probably the first time we've been good once we got into an opposition's 22. I think it's been a while since I've seen us get into a 22 and score tries from it. So that was pleasing, although boring being rolling mauls. It was pleasing to get some points, and it was a bit of a, wind back the clock, get in the 22, rolling maul, score some tries, get out, build some scoreboard pressure, and then play some footy from there. I thought at times we were sharp, at times we weren't. You could tell they probably haven't played for a month, and that's what happens. We've got another big game this week. I think it'll be more of the same, and then it's the big stuff what everyone's really looking forward to, the Springboks here in New Zealand.
Pity, looking back on that game, the All Blacks looked very, very good in big patches of that game. Were you overall satisfied with how they went?
Yeah, I thought that we talked about what to expect after the series we just finished having, with the French, and then if that's the style of footy that we're going to play, some of it was just your basic stuff and using your pods and your boys, and then trying to tactically kick them down the right end of the field, sometimes a bit wayward, like Shirley said. But I thought, they done pretty well. Argentina's pretty solid when it comes to scrummaging, so I thought that we stood up really well at set piece. And they're pretty solid when it comes to defending a rolling maul. I thought, that for the pack, they'll definitely be happy about how that panned out. It's not often that you get a meat pie from a maul against the Argentinians, unless they're really bad. But they've been known to be pretty solid around set piece. So, yeah, I thought the boys played pretty well. A few things they do need to work on, obviously, around defence, but I don't think they're major.
Steve, how much do you put on the build-up that each team had? The All Blacks had 3 tests against France. The Wallabies had 3 tests against the Lions, whereas Argentina, played England B, and I think it was Scotland as well, without the Lions players in there. And then South Africa had, a lead-up with Georgia and Italy. So if you were looking to go into a big test match, would you prefer having an easier sort of build-up, or does a 3-test series against France get you a lot more prepared for a big game?
Yeah, it's pretty hard for our June-July window when the Lions are touring, because that's essentially 4 teams taken up. So there's not a lot of options. The All Blacks tend to get the French, and then the rest get whoever. So, yeah, listen, it's always good to start hardened, like the Wallabies are and have, but at the same time, it's another 2 months till we get to the end of this competition. So you can struggle to maintain that hardness for such a long period of time. So it'll be interesting to see how it plays out. I think definitely the Wallabies have got a bit of a head start. I certainly feel that the Africans will fight back this weekend with a game that they know how to play, with a bit more experience around, with people who know how to play it. Yeah, it's great to see the Wallabies play well, but I feel she could be a long, hard campaign to maintain that over another couple of months. So, New Zealand's had a good lead up. They're in Argentina early. That's hard. They get their travel essentially out of the way, done, and they're home for 2 tests. So I really feel New Zealand's sitting in a good spot. We said at the start of the year, I think they can go this season undefeated. I still believe that. I think they're building nicely. I'm seeing improvements. There were parts of the game where they weren't flash, but they held it together and they finished strong. So I think they're really building really nicely.
Shirley, overall, if you look at that All Blacks lineup, are there any changes that you would like to see for this weekend?
I believe Wallace is back, right? I wouldn't mind seeing him slot straight back in and move Artie back to 7. I think Duplessis is a great player, but I think his best impact at test level could potentially be off the bench, just bringing some of that energy into the game. So I'd like to see him get a try. I'd still love to see a Leroy Carter get a run, whether that's off the bench with his utility value. I just think he has that out-and-out speed and that ability to just break a game open, and I want to see him get a crack at the test level. And I think they'll be pretty keen on giving Simon Parker a run too. But yeah, this chat around Patrick Tuipulotu being out potentially opens up a bench spot there as well for someone to slot in. But the biggest one for me, I want to see Wallace in the loose forwards and move Artie back to 7. Dupes to the bench to bring some of that energy.
Pity, any changes for you that you'd like to see?
No, not really. I think most of the setups looks all good for me.
Steve?
Just the one area of improvement, just again for me, is our kick chase. I mean, the number of times the Argentinians put the ball up and got it back because of a kick chase and it was contestable. We put multiple contestable kicks up. I don't think we got any back. And it wasn't because it was a poor kick. It was because the chase was, we didn't send anyone after the ball. I really feel it's one part of our game we need to really step up, particularly when it comes to Africa, because you need to be able to clear your territory and you need to be able to get the ball back. And yeah, I just think for me, I'm really disappointed with our wingers kick chase, and I think it's the one part of the game that we really need to sharpen up on.
Right, I've got a question for everyone. After the last 2 tests by the Wallabies, beating the Lions, almost beating them in the second test match, and then going to Joburg and beating the Springboks, are the Wallabies back? And where would you rank them on the world stage right now? Right now. We'll go to Shirley first.
Oh, stitch up. Are they back? It depends what your class is back, right? But they're looking the most promising they have over the last few years, for sure. I don't think they'll win this week, so I won't get too carried away, but I think they are a whole lot more competitive. They've come up with a style of footy that they want to play, and they're going to stick to that. So, yeah, I think they are back to being a competitive World Rugby side, for sure. In terms of where I put them at the moment, probably around that 5th to 6th region in the world.
Pity?
Yeah, I'm a bit like Shirley. I don't know if they're back, but I definitely know that they've definitely improved. I guess from that first test, and they're just trying to get better and better from there. And obviously, the last test against the British and Irish Lions, they got it right, and it's sort of that flow-on effect into the first game of the championship. I'm see how things go this week, whether I think they're fully back, but definitely show better glimpses. I'm pretty sure everyone will be asking where Campo is after the comments you made about Schmidt. But hey, we all know that if you've got something to say about it, go and do the job. And if you can't, well, shut up. But I'd probably say probably about 6 or 7.
Right. Steve, are we starting to see the Joe Schmidt influence start to sort of come to the fore in terms of the Wallabies?
Yeah, like Smitty's a great coach. I think the whole planet knows that. If you look back at that second Lions test, the penalty at the end, regardless of if the guy was hit on the back of the head or where the contact was made, the fact is the Lions player went off his feet after he made contact, so it should have been a penalty anyway. That penalty goes to the Aussies. They essentially win the series, and now they've beaten Africa for the first time at Ellis Park since 1963, I think. So are they back? They're probably as good as they've ever been in terms of being a team. No doubt the Aussies will tell you that. So, but whether they can back up again this weekend, I'm not so sure. But we will soon find out. I know they're hardened. They're a different team with Will Skelton, possibly Rob Valentini back in this week as well, which will only add another dimension of ball carrying. And if anyone's going to come up with a game plan to beat that Northern Hemisphere style of rugby, which the Africans will go back to this weekend, then it's going to be Joe Schmidt. So are they back? Yeah, I guess they are. And you listen to every Aussie who crows about it this week, then they definitely are.
Rightio, let's head to the NPC now and a quick look at the results from last weekend. And if we saw a big turnaround in the Springbok Wallabies test match, we saw another big turnaround as well down south, where Southland raced back against Manawatu to beat them 29-22 after Manawatu were up, I think it was 22-0 at half-time. And Southland got out to, I can tell you that the Wallabies were out at $26 at half-time against the Springboks, and I think they drifted out slightly more, out to around $31 to win that test against the Springboks. So, and there are a few punters that jumped on, so well done to those guys. But down south, Southland with a huge turnaround against Manawatu. Manawatu must have been thinking we're going to head back home with some points in the bag and looking pretty good. So, yeah, Shirley, if you look at that game, was it Manawatu that sort of went off the boil, or was it Southland who started to play some footy in the second half?
I thought Southland started to play some footy in the second half, and they looked really good when they played some footy too. I think Manawatu will be gutted. A 2-win from 3-game start for them would be one of their best starts to an NPC campaign that they've had in a long time. But I think that home ground advantage, the crowd getting behind the Southland lads, once they scored, they got a fair bit of momentum. And, yeah, they played some decent footy in that second 40 minutes. I thought Hollinshead was really good as well at kind of driving the ship and being that game driver. And in the end, they deserved the win, but it was an exciting second half. I really enjoyed that on the Friday night. And this is just a great example of what, to me, NPC footy is all about, right? No team's either out of it. They're always high-scoring games, and a game can change at the drop of a hat.
Steve, if we head to up north to the Taniwha, and they put up a brave effort against Tasman, who look like they will be playing at the business end of the season. But Tasman were just a wee bit too clinical in the end.
Yeah, Tasman are a great team. They just look stacked with super experience, international experience even as well, you know, which is a class above. I just think they're big, they're strong, they're fit, they're fast, and that's going to cause a lot of teams some serious trouble this season. Northland battled, and they battled hard like they always do, but Tasman just way too classy. I mean, this Tasman team's probably, pretty close to being everyone's favourites to take it out, because they are stacked.
Pity. Bay of Plenty, Canterbury, they were two unbeaten teams last weekend up at Tauranga. And in the end, Canterbury just didn't let Bay of Plenty play their game. Defensively, they were very, very good, the Red and Blacks.
I think they were just clinical in everything that they did. Obviously, they got a good start, and usually at the end of the first half, you try and try and get points straight back before you go into half time, and then out when you come out at half time. But I mean, I don't think Bay of Plenty had a chance really. It didn't feel like they fired a shot really. I mean, they did get one try out of it, but I feel like Canterbury held them to pretty much the way, or played the game the way they wanted to play it, and put a lot more pressure on Bay of Plenty than they usually have.
I want to go back to Steve for this next game. Auckland 8.
I can't hear you. I'm having trouble with audio. I don't know what.
I think Auckland were having trouble with audio last weekend, to be fair.
Next.
Auckland 8, Taranaki 50 at Eden Park. 50 at Eden Park. Look, to be fair to Auckland, they've had a very, very tough start to the season. They've played some big, big teams, but they're one of 3 teams yet to register a win.
I think it's the top of the North Island. All those teams have struggled to register a win, which is not great. This is what happens. You can put young kids in to play NPC, and that's all fine. Week 1 and week 2, but week 3, week 5, week 6, when it becomes a grind, when you're sore, and you got to get yourself up mentally every week. That's what hardened professionals do, and unfortunately at Auckland, you're just not going to get that this year. To be fair, you probably won't get it next year with the same team either. But they're young, they're learning. There is some talent there. They just, I think 2 of the games, they were chances to have won them. They just forgot to play rugby, and they forgot to do what got them in front, and they just sort of seized up in the headlights a little bit and got run over the top of twice. So they're a good young team. I was embarrassed on the weekend. That's not how things should roll at Eden Park, and it's the team that will have to fight to get them back in a position where they can win some rugby matches. It was embarrassing, but a very classy Taranaki team up against essentially a bunch of kids, and there's a lot of lessons to learn, and they'll learn them, and the only way to get better is to get in there and do it, and they're doing that. So we just got to hang on for a while and wait for these kids to mature and to harden professionals.
Well,
how did that sound? Was that all right? I don't know. That's about all I can manage.
Speaking of another team up north, North Harbor, Surly.
Oh, come on.
Wow. They went down to Hawke's Bay, and the Magpies, to be fair, North Harbor fought back and got the lead in that second half, but the Hawke's Bay team just ran over the top of them in that final sort of 15 minutes. A couple of Flanders boys in the pack, Zahn Sullivan at fullback. They were ran that back line was controlled very, very nicely. Who's the centre? Greg, who dotted down. It was look, Hawke's Bay are a very, very good team.
Yeah, they are a good team. I'm not sure they were at 100% either by their standards, but I thought North Harbor for the first 60 minutes certainly didn't roll over. And again, similar to the Auckland side, this Harbour team is pretty young and inexperienced, and a lot of the boys have come from club footy, and I think they are going to build into this season for sure, and you'll see improvements from them week in and week out, and this was an improvement, probably their best performance this season so far. Doesn't get any easier this week, taking on Tasman, but yeah, there were opportunities there that Harbour didn't take, which could have changed the outcome, a couple missed goal kicks and things like that, which Oscar Collar is a much better player than that, had a tough day at the office. But yeah, there was enough there as a Harbour fan to give you hope for the coming weeks. But yeah, it doesn't get any easier this week. I think the next couple of weeks is still brutal. And then the back end of the season is where we'll look to target some dubs. So be patient, Harbour fans, all 10 of us. Hang in there.
Pity you out.
Actually, I think you're down to 7.
Oh, yeah, they're falling off, mate. But where do they go? They can't jump to Auckland. They can't jump to Northland. Where are Harbour fans going now, looking for wins?
Probably Australia, I would think.
Oh, yeah. Tane Edmed, he's one of us, mate. He played for us. We'll claim him.
Pity you were at Jerry Collins Stadium on Sunday to see...
Jeez, it was a rough week for all of us, wasn't it?
you were out at Porirua to watch it was almost like an NBA All-Star game. No defense whatsoever. 46-41?
Yep.
What do you make of that? I mean, obviously...
I'm just glad Goldie's not on this week.
Yeah.
Was this played under COVID rules, was it? The social distancing on defence, it was outstanding.
I think, obviously Wellington got off to a great start, and then they just didn't quite maintain that energy after that. And then Otago obviously clawed their way back into it. And then it just become a game of back-to-back, ding-dong battle. One scores, the other one scores. And it was actually a really good game to watch up entertainment-wise. But in terms of structures and stuff like that, I think Wellington have got a few things they need to work on. Obviously, they've done well attack-wise. Jackson, Garden, Bishop being able to try and put them down the right end of the field, but in saying that, their chase line was a little bit slow to get up and try and stop the boys from counter from their own half. So allowed them to get back easy meters, and then they just made a lot of inroads either up the middle of the paddock, or they shifted it to the edges, and they got some massive gains there. And it was actually pretty good head-to-head battle with a few players like Nariki and Maiava, both talented players and quick as well. Seeing those two go at it, it was a good game to be involved with, to call, and not only that, watch as well.
Do you think that Wellington, a little bit like Auckland, lack a bit of experience? With the likes of Peter Larkai, Duplessis, Karifi, Ardi Sarver, all out of the squad at the moment. Do you think that affects them and their ability to close out games?
No, I don't think it does. It's more like their experience around how to guide the boys through patches in the game. I think that's one area. Obviously, Brad's there as the captain, but you still need a couple more boys to help guide those boys around the field. I thought there was opportunities that where they could have capitalised on it. Obviously, being inside the opposition 22, I don't know how long they were in there, but the times that they were in there, they just weren't clinical enough and lost a few. They would have, if they had to capitalise on it, they would have been a bit better off. And then the likes of Asafo coming off the bench. His first touch, all he wanted to do was pretty much run into a brick wall just to get himself straight into it. He's pretty chill throwing, and then come around the corner, and you would have thought he would have passed, but the first thing he wanted to do was just find a bit of contact and run for a brick wall. But having experienced players like the likes of Dupes or Ardi helping out with some of those younger boys would have possibly helped them capitalise on those areas that they were missing.
Righty-ho, Shirley. We'll look at the last game of the Z, seen as it's probably your team, seen as your other team's not going so well. And we had to wait for the very final play of the game too for Waikato to get up over a very, very brave Counties Monuko. But in the end, Waikato just did enough.
I do wonder if they had one eye on this week. And yeah, I guess if they are my team, then I better head down to Taranaki, because I think that's going to be a great game. And Waikato have always given Taranaki a good run recently anyway. Those have been some good games. But yeah, I do wonder if Waikato had an eye on this week's game and going for the Shield, and perhaps underestimated Counties a little bit and almost paid the price. But in the end, they get the points on the ladder, and come the end of the season, that's all that matters, really.
Righty-ho. A question for everyone. We'll start with you first, Steve. If you could take one of the current Wallabies and put it into your NPC team, and I'm going to say that Auckland is your NPC team, which Wallaby do you think would make the greatest impact for Auckland?
Joe Smith.
What position does he play?
He can play whatever one he wants to. I'm assuming he'll probably put himself in charge. I think Joseph Suaidi is a freak of an athlete. I actually watched him play a little bit of schoolboy rugby when I was helping my old school team over in Aussie coaching a few years ago. He is a freak. I think sort of at 15 he was playing for the first 15 in Sydney. Contracted to South already. He's going to have it all. He's still a kid learning his trade, and I hate to think where he's going to be in quite a few years. He's an absolute amazing athlete, and he looks to have it all. If the Aussies can keep him on the park, then that's a big string to their bow every week going forward.
Searley.
But I'd still take Joe Schmidt.
Joe Schmidt. Searley,
Yeah,
who
well,
would you take for North Harbour?
well, I'll take Joe as well, but I've got a forward and a back because Harbour, we need some help, mate. We're winless, so I think we make an exemption. I'd grab Will Skelton as a real follow me type of bloke, an aggressor, someone that can get us over gain line, because I think we're missing that a bit in our forward pack, bit of a hard edge. And then I'd take James O'Connor as well, just for his experience, chuck him in the first 5 role. We've got a load of young backs, and I think what he could bring just in terms of experience and all that type of jazz, I'd chuck him in there.
Typical North Harbour turncoat. Their own player was there. Tane Edmund was in with the Wallabies squad, and you've taken James O'Connor all of a sudden.
Yeah, look, I think we need the experience more than anything. Tane was great for us. He was huge last year, but we saw what O'Connor did with the Crusaders. I just think having that older head to help guide some of these younger lads would go good. But I'll take old Tane. Tane can come back anytime. He's more than welcome, mate.
Pity, who are you picking up for Wellington?
Don't you pipe up about North Harbour too in Auckland, mate. They're the quickest to turn on their players. Come on.
Never, not once.
I can't wait for the Battle of the Bridge.
Oh, geez, it's going to be boring at this stage, isn't it?
There's not one this year.
No, there isn't one.
Yeah.
Oh, no, if you both make the play. Oh, no, never mind.
It's a promotion relegation game at this stage.
It's early stages. Jeez.
Loser plays Wanganui the week after to stay in the comp.
How much can I get on Wanganui?
No, Harbour's coming back, mate. Come on.
Okay. Pretty.
I'll go with right because they obviously Wellington lost Harkin on a bit of concussion, but I just think his ability to with his counter attack and leadership at the back there would help the back three for the Wellington team.
Yep, I would have taken. Well, Searley's already taken Skelton for North Harbour. I was thinking Skelton, who would boost up that pack and get a wee bit of go forward. But I thought Harry Wilson, who has been playing very, very well for the Wallabies, and I think his, first of all, his leadership, and he also gets quite a bit of go forward. He looked very, very good, certainly in that second half against the Springboks. So, nice. Why don't we go through our TAB, NPC, MVP rankings for last weekend. And we can start with you first, Steve. Who have you gone for your 5 points, 3 points, and 1 point?
I was really impressed. I watched the Otago match and Dylan Pledger at 9. I thought he was the difference in that game. Gee, he's a little kid, but he can run, he can pass really well. I think we've got another serious halfback on our hands with this kid. Lucas Casey, he was the open side for Otago. I was blown away. He's just quite a solid. Looks pretty young as well, quite solid. And man, he was on top of the ball. He's tackling hard. He was everywhere. And again, those two I thought were the difference over Wellington for the Otago team. So a couple of young kids to look out for going forward. And my 1 point was Ollie Mathis with, again, another young kid with Waikato. Every time he touched the ball, he made 20, 30 metres, stepping, passing, kicking, chasing. He can play back row. He can play wing. I just think this kid, he's got something real special about him. And I enjoy watching him play footy.
Nice. Searley, your 5, 3, and 2?
My 5 points was Josh Jacob. I just thought he was insane, and there's rumours around him, people wanting him to go to the Highlanders or something for more game time, but geez, he can play, man. So he got my 5 points. My 3 was Sam Derry. I thought he was really impressive for Canterbury against Bay of Plenty. He was physical, man, and he really led that Canterbury forward pack coming back from injury. And then my 1 was Lucas Casey. I haven't seen much of this bloke play before, but geez, he rips in. He really caught my eye. So he got my 1 point.
Pity, your 5, 3, 2? 5, 3, 1, sorry.
I was going with Casey as well, only because I caught the game and just between him and Pledger, I think the tries that they scored were pretty much involved in the both of them. The first one that they scored, Pledger scored, but Lucas was there, offloaded it, and Pledger was there, and then Pledger made that dummy, went through the middle, and then offloaded it to Casey as well. So not only that, I think there was a couple other tries where he was pretty much following up on the inside as well. So I'll go with Casey. Josh Jacob is my 3-pointer. I just think what he's been doing with Taranaki has been, well, on the weekend anyway, leading them down the right track. And then one would be Pledger, just because I think he's a new talent that's coming through and he's done pretty well. Caught my eye anyway on the weekend against Wellington.
Beautiful. I've also gone for Josh Jacob for the 5 points. I thought he controlled that game very, very well in trying conditions and just looked a step or two ahead of the opposition. I've gone with Nick Shearer, who I think was a big part of that Southland turnaround. Boy, we're chucking out a few halfbacks at the moment. And the All Blacks have got a few halfbacks in the squad already. So if there's one position where it looks like New Zealand rugby is in great stead, it's the number 9, because there are some very, very good younger halfbacks coming through. And then for the 1 point, I also went for Sam Darry. I thought he was huge for Canterbury in that big win against Bay of Plenty. Picked up a couple of tries as well, but just looked very, very strong all throughout the field. So, yeah, we'll have an updated ladder next week when Goldie gets his selections through. But now we'll preview a couple of the NPC games. We'll head to Hawke's Bay first. Hawke's Bay up against Canterbury. I guess if we go to this game, we got Hawke's Bay slight underdogs at home. They're $1.95. Canterbury are $1.80. The game total set at 57.5. One of these teams will, unless there's a draw, will pick up their first loss of the season. Steve, are you sticking with the red and blacks here?
When have I ever stuck with the red and blacks? Come on, Hawke's Bay. I think it'll be a cracker. I think probably, Canterbury just, they don't do a lot. They just wear you down and bore you to death. So Hawke's Bay get it right. I think they'll win this. It's Hawke's Bay at home, right? I think that could be. I think that could be the difference. It'll be tight. I think Hawke's Bay will probably get it done.
Shirley?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to some matchups in this one. The loose forward battle between Christie and Flanders will be huge. It'll be physical up front. I think Canterbury might have lost McNichol and potentially Rover as well, the 12, who's caught my eye. He's looked really solid. So I'll go Hawke's Bay at home, but it's going to be a 1 to 7 point type of affair. I think it's going to be really tight.
Pity, you with the Magpies or the Red and Blacks?
Well, they're part of the Hurricanes region, aren't they?
They are.
There you go. Of course, yeah. Definitely want the Bay to continue their form, and I think we're all on the same page, really.
Okay. Let's move on to the Ranfurly.
What are you going for?
Not a lot of love for Canterbury. I'm guessing Paulie's going with Hawke's Bay as well.
Moving on.
I think it's already been said. We'll move on to the big Ranfurly Shield Challenge on Saturday. Taranaki hosting Waikato. Taranaki $1.25. Waikato $3.80. They're 10.5 point favourites. Taranaki, and the total set at 59.5. Is the Shield going to be heading north this weekend, Steve?
No, I think the control, the experience of the Taranaki team, I probably think they're favourites right now. I am a bit concerned that sometimes the bounce of the ball in a game of rugby doesn't go your way 2 weeks in a row, and I feel they got the bounce of the ball last week against Auckland. So Waikato can finish out a game pretty well. They've done it twice this season, but I'm not so sure they're going to get those opportunities against a pretty hard and a pretty experienced Taranaki team. I think with a Shield on the line, when push comes to shove, I just think that Taranaki boys probably a bit too big, too strong.
Shirley, wasn't the best dress rehearsal for Waikato last weekend. Can they upset Taranaki this weekend?
I've got Taranaki to win, but I do think the 10.5 points is a bit extreme. I wouldn't mind getting Waikato to cover that just because of how well they finish. And I really do think last week their head was in this game. Taranaki, for me, though, they're just a complete package at the moment. Their forward pack is so strong, set piece and around the paddock. And then with Josh Jacob and Jacob Ratamatavuki Nepkins in the back line, they just have so much spark and game awareness. They look hard to beat. If this game was later in the season and it wasn't just their second defence of the year, then maybe you would say that defending the Shield has taken a toll on them. But I think Taranaki will win, but Waikato plus 10.5 isn't the worst shout.
Pity. Field challenge. Big game.
I'd probably say it won't be moving. I'd say that Taranaki had definitely got enough to maintain it and hold on to it with their, like Shirley said, the experience that they've got. But I am, wary of Waikato. They've got a couple of old heads that know how to run the ship. And they've also got a coach that's been involved in a few challenges and Shield challenges. So definitely one to keep an eye on. But I don't think it'll be moving.
Right. Let's have a quick look at the Rugby Championship this weekend as well.
Well, North Harbour Tasman.
I didn't want to put you through that.
No, yeah, we're good. Move on.
We'll have a look at the Rugby Championship this weekend. South Africa up against the Wallabies. And I can tell you yesterday, 24 hours ago, Australia were $4.60 to win this game, and they were, I think it was 14.5-point underdogs. They are now into $3.80, the Wallabies, and they're a 12.5-point underdog. South Africa, $1.25. Steve, can the Wallabies keep this, if not win it, keep it close?
Yeah, listen, I just think you're going to see a hardened, experienced Springbok team do what they know how to do and win how they know how to win. There won't be a lot of rugby played. It'll be back to boring, and I just think that probably the Africans will be too good at doing that game plan. I hope for the good of rugby that the Wallabies do win, because I'm tired of watching that Northern Hemisphere style of rugby, and I'm there's only one thing worse than playing that style is that when you play that style and you lose, because that then puts all sorts of pressure on you from supporters and people, because it's just so unentertaining, and then you lose on top of it. So I think the Springboks will win, but I hope the Wallabies do.
Shirley, are you seeing the Wallabies go bang bang?
Heart says yes, head says no. Pollard back, I'd say Cheslin Colby will be back. They lose Khaleesi, but I still think they'll go back to that more textbook Springbok style of play. I think this one would have rolled them up. The South African public will be wanting to see a bounce back. From the looks of social media comments, it is like the world has ended over there. So yeah, I think it'll be 1-1 after this weekend. I think the Boks will win, but I'd love to see the Wallabies go back to back. That would be huge. Then they would be back.
Pity. Khaleesi is a big loss for the Springboks. They do get some players back, though. Are you thinking there'll be a bounce back by South Africa?
Yeah, I like the boys have said. I reckon they'll go back to what they know. Call it boring, but sometimes it wins, and we hate that, because what we want to see is the ball being thrown around and show a bit of deception in the attack. But yeah, I really want Aussie to win. I'm just not sure if it'll happen.
Righty-ho, let's move on to the other test match this weekend in the Rugby Championship, and Argentina play the All Blacks. Argentina, $3.80. The All Blacks are $1.25. All Blacks are 10.5-point favourites. The total set at 57.5. Surly, All Blacks are going to go 1-2 in Argentina and return with 2 wins under their belt?
Yeah, I think so. I think we saw enough on the weekend for sure to say that they should win both of these games. So I will back them in. Again, the line is kind of appealing. I know Jeff did well on it last week. I do think if we sought our discipline, then there was still a few more points out there. But All Blacks head-to-head seems pretty safe for me.
Pretty. The All Blacks, 10.5-point favourites. They can continue on.
Yeah, but I don't think it'll be easy. I think Argentina would have done a bit of homework from the weekend and tried to change the pictures that they presented on the weekend. But I still think the All Blacks will bounce back with whatever pictures they have in front of them and be too strong.
Steve, are you giving Argentina, the Pumas, any chance here?
Well, listen, if the Argies can get it right and play that, that slow game that they're very good at, they beat the Lions with it. They're in with a chance, but I think there's enough improvement yet out of that All Black team from last Saturday to get a few more points, and I think the All Blacks will probably do it. Maybe not so comfortable, but I certainly think it'll be a physical battle because that's what the Argies bring most. They have to play their tempo. All Blacks have to play their tempo, high tempo, and get the ball moving. Otherwise, they're in some trouble.
Righty-ho. Let's move on to the big part of the podcast, and that's where we put down our money. And we'll head to Shirley first, who had some success last week. Hopefully, he can continue on that way. I'm sure there'll be a few NPC legs in his multis.
Yeah, mine's pretty straight bet, to be fair. Obviously, team's not out at time of recording, so I like to avoid try scorers. I've just got the one multi, and that's Bay of Plenty halftime, full-time double, Otago head-to-head against Counties, and the All Blacks head-to-head against Argentina. $2.30. Not nothing to write home about, but I'm just building that kitty. I'm back in the positive. I don't want to get too carried away. I'd encourage Pity to follow me in, but I know he won't. He'll have something leery. But I'm just going straight bet, $2.30 odds, hoping to bank it. I've probably cursed it now, though.
Steve, where are you going to go?
No, can you do Pity first so I can say
Why?
Yeah.
Are
you going to take the opposite?
Exactly. Well, I'm going to try for the perfect round.
Oh, no.
Oh, here we go. One multi to get him back in the green. I like that attitude.
What's he going to do?
Bay of Plenty.
Bay of Plenty.
No.
Hawke's Bay.
Taranaki. Tasman.
Yes, Harbour.
This is a tough one.
Is that Auckland, Northland?
Yep. I'll give Northland. Go with Northland, Otago, and Wellington. I'll put 25 on that, and then I'm going to go with the championship.
Yep.
And we'll go with halftime, full time. I'll go with Australia to lead at halftime, and Springboks to win.
Oh.
And then AB's 13 and over. I'll put the rest of it on that.
Oh, bloody hell. What was that? So, did you say Australia to lead at halftime, South Africa to win?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah, that's $7.50. Wowee. Okay. You happy with that?
You can try anything, mate. It's not going to help me.
I think the TAB's happy with that.
The bank account's not going to be happy with it. Look at it.
Will Steve Devine make the TAB happy? What's he going to do?
All right, I've learned a few lessons from my old mate Paul, and I'm just going to be sensible this week. I'm going to go Bay Plenty to win at halftime and at full time. Taranaki to be winning at halftime and at full time. and Tasman to be winning at halftime at full time, and the All Blacks to win. It's $3.36, and I'm putting all honey on that.
There we go. Nice. I'm not too dissimilar, to be fair, to Steve.
Maybe I'm listening to you too much.
I've got a 3-leg multi. I'm going to take Otago to win, take the All Blacks to win, and I'm going to take Monuko plus 11.5 against Wellington this weekend. That comes out to $3.49, and I'll put the whole 100 on there and just try and chip away.
That Taranaki, that Monuko often get up against Wellington. It's their big grudge match. That is a great little bet.
It's sort of a case of little brother, big brother sort of thing, and I agree with you. Monuko will be up for this game, and it's up in Palmy, so look, they'll have a whole heap of bucket heads there, shout them on. I think it'll be a very, very tight game. I was thinking of going either team to win by 12 and under, but I thought, no, I'll take the plus 11.5. I should keep it close. Righty-ho. What are you up to this weekend, Pity?
Oh, not too much, thank goodness.
College season over?
Yes, pretty much. We've probably got maybe 1 or 2 games left, but that's not the first 16. It's our under 16 black and under 65s. But yeah, not too much, thank goodness. Hopefully, if the weather's good, maybe go on the water.
A bit of fishing.
Diving.
Oh, well. Will Steve be out on the water this weekend?
No, I've just got a little text message in that may see me at Eden Park on Saturday, involved in a mascot race. We might just watch this space with that one team.
Is it like just you against the Northland mascot, or are there a number of mascots that are going to be running?
No, I don't think I'll be in the suit. I'll probably just be assisting. Hopefully. I don't know too much just yet. The message just came through just now. So hopefully I'm helping get a mascot drunk and set him loose in the crowd.
Love it.
Was it the NPC final last year in Wellington where they had the mascot race, but it was the mascot for every single team? They were right across the field at halftime, I think it was, and I'm pretty sure a few of them had already had a few drinks because there was carnage. A couple of them weren't interested in winning. They were just quite keen on stopping someone else from winning. It was pretty good.
Well, that will be my intentions, definitely.
Surly, footy season over?
Yeah, footy season over. I'm emceeing a Harbour 40-year celebration lunch a couple hours before the Harbour Tasman game. So if you see a spirited performance from the Harbour lads, you know I've delivered them one of the great Gus Goulds. The lads will be ready to run through a brick wall, and we're going to pull off an upset to celebrate 40 years as the greatest provincial union in New Zealand rugby, up the mighty Harbour Heat.
What have you won in that 40 years?
Hey, look, we won the second div, that championship one. Famous night down in the Sistema lunchbox when we beat Otago, thanks to a Bryn Gatlin penalty. We also won the Ranfurly Shield in 2006, one of the greatest days of my life. Me and the old man flew down there. That was special scenes, a massive dub.
Was that down at Canterbury?
Yeah, down at Canterbury. Viliami Wakasan Dordor with an intercept. Ruatapuki was up to all his old tricks, just punching
an intercept as well. 2 intercept tries.
Yeah, that was a great day in Harbour history. But yeah, the accolades have been few and far between. We're just a battler union, you know. No one gives us a shot. We're just chipping away. And one day we'll hold the trophy and we'll get the shield back and the sun will shine again at QBE Stadium, North Harbour. Don't you worry.
Okay. That's it for this week.
Games this week?
No, I've got nothing on. Nothing.
No golf, no flying to Auckland for a
No.
lounge.
Surely some golf.
No, maybe on Sunday. I don't know. We've got a few things on. Other things. Anyway, we'll all be back.
Man of mystery.
We'll all be back next week, including Steve Devine. Hopefully, after Auckland have picked up their first win of the season. If
Go
not,
Northland.
Yeah, it's that big brother, little brother battle again, and it scares me.
What are we, the weird stepbrother? The stepbrother.
Yeah, we don't really consider North Harbor to be anything other than.
I guess with Tane Edmed, you're sort of the gingerhead brother. So.
Oh, come on. No, we've got James O'Connor coming, mate. Don't you worry about that.
Alrighty. Okay, thanks to Pity, thanks to Steve, and thanks to Surly. And thanks to you guys for tuning in once again. And we'll be back next week with another edition of the Pick and Go.